guys, welcome back to another episode of UKGO. My name is Ed, and today we are coming to you with a post-Banlist Monarch deck build. Now that F is back up at 2, it's completely rehauled the deck, it's made it so much more consistent, stopped it from being the almighty brick house that we all know it to be. So I run my deck a little bit differently to what most people run. Monarchs are just a brick house, they always have been. So many people run so many different ratios trying to figure out the way to kind of stop the brick cycle that is Monarchs. And with my deck build, basically I focus more on the fact that you are going to brick at some point. It's not an if, it's a when. And in the situations where you do brick, you don't get the right ratios in your hand. My deck revolves around the recovery of that and still giving you the availability to set up the boards that you need and to be able to slow down your opponent enough to give yourself a chance to recover if your hand isn't ideal. So please guys, hit like, hit subscribe, and let's get down into this deck profile. Thank you. Okay guys, to begin, we're running 2 Aoife, the Heavenly Monarch. She is the best Monarch in this deck, and now she's back up to 2. It makes the absolute world of difference. Okay, so 2 of her. Then on to the second main Monarch of the deck. We are playing 3 Erebus, the Underworld Monarch. He is just a meathead, possibly one of my favourite artworks in the entire of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. I'm a big armour lover, so him sitting on a big beastie throne, looking like he gives no facts, is something that I can totally get behind. Erebus is a big beastie, and at 2800 attack, he's not bad either. So then we are playing 2 Kurez for your Aoife targets. Great Disturber. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can pop up to 2 cards on the field. If you got a card popped on either your side or your opponent's side, you draw a card for the amount of cards that will pop. So must run at 2. So we are running 2 Vanity's Fiends and 1 Majesty Fiend. I've seen people run different ratios of these. I've seen run people 2 and 2. Personally for me, I like Vanity's Fiend a little bit more. Majesty's Fiend is good, but there has been situations where I haven't myself been able to get into things or do things. The way Majesty Fiend works is basically everything in the graveyard, hand or field is treated as a normal monster, or else that's, I believe, how her effect kind of works. Like in today's metagame, being able to stop your opponent from special summoning I mean, no more needs to be said against stuff like Salamangrates, against Orcust, against Thunder Dragons, against, all these really heavy meta decks. Being able to just slap one of these down with Domain, they're screwed, they can't do anything, they can normal summon, and that is it. And that really, in a lot of those decks, does not do them much good at all. Okay, so I run 2 and 1 for this. Now I run something a little bit different. I'll explain to you why. I play 1 copy of Odd Eyes Advanced Dragon. Now, I absolutely adore this card in this deck. It works very similar to a Monarch in the way that its beginning effect is you contribute summon this card by tributing 1 level 5 or higher monster, which is all your Monarchs. Now, the great thing about this is that when this card is tribute summoned, you can destroy 1 monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster's original attack. But that's pretty decent, but that's not the reason why I run this card in that deck. That is useful, especially if they've got something meaty on the field with over 3k attack. It always makes things quite useful. But the reason why I run this card is for the other effect. Your card destroys a monster by battle. You can special summon 1 level 5 or higher monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, except Odd Eyes Advanced, right, so one of the reasons why this is fantastic is because most of the time you're either going to have one of these in your graveyard, I really recommend trying this card out, see what you think. So yeah, that's a nice interesting tech for this. Now onto the Squires. Now I've seen people run different ratios of these. This for me works perfectly. Like I said before, the whole reason with this deck is that Monarchs is a brick house, and one of the things that happens far too often is that you get a handful of these and nothing else, and they're pretty much useless because even when you summon them, they've got 1000 defense and 800 attack, which is really not good for much. And considering this deck runs no extra deck, it's not like you can just go into a Linkariba or anything like that. So one of the reasons why I run this ratio, I see people run 3, 3 and 3. I don't even play Mithra. I know that a lot of people do, but for me, I feel like this is the perfect ratio. I've been in too many situations where I've just drawn a hand of these, and that's it. I just scoop. There's no point because I'm never going to be able to recover. Now, this is where things get a little bit different. So, like I said before in my intro, my whole reasoning behind this deck is the fact is that if you go second, a lot of the time life gets very, very difficult. So one of the reasons why I run 3 of these Dino Wrestler Pancatrops. And now in Secret Rare, thank you to Battles of Legend, which we have a booster box opening that we did the other day. So if you want to check that out, go over to our channel, please hit like and hit subscribe. I've been in too many situations where I only have one normal summon. So I either don't have one of these, or I don't have one of these, but I'll have one of these. The whole reason behind this is if you go second, being able to just instant free summon with a pop, in Monarchs it's just too useful. Being able to go second, drop this down, and then tribute it off for one of your Monarchs. So I play a Kaiju engine in Monarchs. This deck is anti-meta. Just first and foremost, it's an anti-meta deck. It's there to either slow your opponent down, stop them from using monster effects, stops them from special summoning. So as another disturber for this deck, Kaiju's works absolutely fantastic. I run 1 Gamma Seal and 2 of the Mad Flame Kaiju. I can't tell you how many times I've been in situations where they've managed, I've either gone second and they've set up an absolutely incredible board, something that I know I can't beat over, something that's got quite horrible monster effects if I was to put something down on the board. For example, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is a perfect example of this, because as soon as you put anything on the board, the quick effect obviously to destroy and then flip everything face down has become an issue on more than one occasion, especially with my friend Connor, who you've seen in previous videos is very, very fond of his Dino deck. So having things like this to out it is just a really, really nice tech. So yeah, we're running them. Okay, so obviously to go along with the Kaiju engine, I run 2 Interrupting Kaiju Slumber. Awesome card, board wipe, and then basically what Interrupting Kaiju Slumber does is it works like a dark hole, except after it's destroyed all the monsters on the board, you special summon 2 Kaijus, one to your side of the field and 1 to your opponent. So most of the time you will give your opponent Gamma Seal and you'll keep this, and instantly they put themselves in a relatively bit of a sticky situation. So yeah, Interrupting Kaiju Slumber works incredibly well in this deck, like I said, to out a lot of things. Now to the one-offs, I play 1 1-for-1, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Rotor, 1 Tenacity, 1 Pantheism. So I was really hoping on this ban list, just like Ether, this was going to get bumped up to 2. It didn't, which is a bit of a shame. I can kind of understand why. It works like a trade-in and a duality all kind of rolled into one, so I do kind of understand why they didn't bump it up. Kind of wish that they did. Now, one of the reasons why I only play 1 of Tenacity, like I said, it is a good searcher. However, I've been in too many situations where I don't have the requirements in hand, especially in this deck build where I run more things like Pancatrops and Kaijus. It doesn't always work out as much as I want. So 1 normally works fine for me, and then the rest are all kind of self-explanatory for this deck. Then I play, obviously, because it's Monarchs, triple Domain. Domain is absolutely fantastic, possibly one of the best field spells in the game. The fact that you can stop your opponent from accessing their extra deck in today's metagame is absolutely broken, absolutely ridiculous, considering that if you can stop any meta deck from link summoning or going into XYZs or to shut off their extra deck, they just scoop. I've been in so many situations where I've literally gone Domain, Majesty's Fiend, ended, and they've just scooped instantly because they knew that there was nothing they were going to be able to do. So yeah, best field spell. Then, the reason why I got back into Monarchs was Monarch Stormforth, going back up to 3. Absolutely amazing quick play spell. Basically what it does is it allows you to tribute off your opponent's monsters for your tribute summons, which again works incredibly well if you've got stuff that you're struggling to out, and the fact that it's a quick play spell as well just makes it even better. So yeah, running Stormforth at 3. Okay, now I am running 2 Return of the Monarchs. I see people run more than 2. For me, 2 works perfect. mostly because, like I said, I'm trying to avoid bricking, and sometimes this can be a bit of a brick if you don't have the other stuff in hand to be able to set this off. So yeah, I only run 2 returns. Like I said before, this deck is designed to kind of ease the brick cycle that is Monarchs, to be able to get you out of situations where if you do brick, you are going to be able to recover. And one of the best ways of doing that is I run 2 evenly matched. I cannot tell you how many times this card has saved my skin with this deck. The amount of times I've gone first, drew my hand, realised that I've bricked and that there's nothing in it that I can do this turn, but having this in hand has saved my skin more times than I dare mention, especially being able to just banish your opponent's board and then start again. It has saved my skin more times, so I highly recommend trying evenly matched in your Monarch build. Now to the best trap card in the deck, without a doubt, the Monarch's Erupt. I've even seen where people don't run any of these, or if they do, they only run 1. For me, it's the best trap card. It is a settable Majesty's Fiend. If you have a tribute summoned monster on the field, all monster effects on the field are negated. No more needs to be said. It's absolutely broken, and all I can say is run free, because even if you don't manage to get into a Majesty's Fiend, and that's the reason why I only play 1 Majesty's Fiend, because I do run 3 Erupt. So yeah, I definitely advise running this at 3. Then I play 1 Prime and 1 Escalation. Prime is there for recirculation out of your graveyard from your Monarch spell and trap cards, but normally what happens is you end up sending Prime through either Erebus's effect or Effa's effect, with Pantheism, and then the effect of this is that you can banish another Monarch spell and trap card from your graveyard to special summon it as basically a token to then tribute off for other Monarch plays. Escalation is fantastic, but it is a little bit situational. Being able to summon in your opponent's turn is always going to be useful, but for me, 1 is enough for this deck. So that is my deck build. There is no extra deck with this deck because it's Monarchs, and most of it revolves around the fact that you don't run an extra deck. But please, if you've liked this, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.